Hello there, this is Per again here. So this is my free-to-play account on Season 18 of Hearthstone. We are currently on the 8th day of the season, and I just thought I'd go through a little update of how things have been going. So I have talked about arenas. I've done 9, I believe. My average has been, let me have a quick look, 5.666 recurring. So my scores so far have been 6-3, 9-3, 3-3, 12-2, 5-3, 3-3, 0-3, how very embarrassing, 8-3 and 5-3. Yeah, that 0-3 was bad. One of the games I missed a turn in my second game, and then I nearly won anyway, but he took big burst damage. But so it wasn't, the deck didn't deserve 0-3, but it was quite a bad deck anyway. The other two games I just got beaten because it was a rubbish deck, but had some good ones. Obviously I got that 12 in there, so can't be too disappointed. An average of just under 6 is nothing to be sniffed at really, so happy there. Now ranked, that's the important bit really. So I'm currently at rank 13. I've got 31 wins with Shaman. Let's have a look at my losses quickly. So I've got 19 losses, so 31 for 19, so that's 50 games, so kind of big point. And what's that, 62% win rate after 50 games is okay. On the 8th day of the season, rank 13 is, I'm probably with people that will be closing in on like rank 5 and above now. That's the kind of people that we're looking at. So pretty happy with how things are going really. Let's have a look at the deck then. So what changes have I made since last time? So last time, the biggest change from last time, well last time it was the first time I'd ever built the Mech Shaman deck. That was my last video. And a lot of changes have been made since then. I didn't have the basic cards for Shaman then, so there was quite a few things missing. So things that I've changed obviously since then are I've added 2 Fire Elementals and 2 Flame Tongue Totems. They're the big changes. I then crafted a second Annoyatron and a second Azure Drake to fit in the deck. So, and it hasn't changed an awful lot since then. I got a bit stuck around rank 15, and I was finding that I was playing a lot of games where it was going. I wasn't getting super early, like quick starts, like you kind of want with Mech, and things were kind of tending towards the mid game to late game, and it was just struggling a little bit there. So what I've done, made one simple change, which is take out one of the Cogmasters and add in a Clockwork Knight. So the Cogmaster is a really good card if you can play him turn 1, and after that he's quite average basically. Yeah, it's a fairly weak card in the mid game. You won't always have, you'll find in this deck you won't always have mechs in the mid game. Sometimes you find yourself with hands of burst damage with like Crackles, Lava Bursts. And then you'll have like Azure Drakes, Fire Elementals, Flame Tongues. There's quite a lot of and Rock Blighters. So there's a lot of non-mech cards. So I think keeping down the Tinkertown and the Cogmaster to, so I've only got 3 cards that are really synergistic. Well, that really need other mechs out. It was good. And the Clockwork Knight is another mech, so it gets all the other synergies. And what the deck was really lacking was 5s, I think. Obviously there was 2 Azure Drakes, but Azure Drake is not a really like impactful turn 5 play. It's obviously a great card advantage, draws cards, and late game the spell damage is nothing to be sniffed at when you've got a Lava Burst and 2 Crackles. That certainly won the games just from the spell damage. But yeah, it doesn't impact the board that heavily, whereas Clockwork Knight it really does. It's like, I've only played I think maybe 5 or 6 games with it, but has been doing a lot of great work. So if anyone's playing a mech deck and they're finding they can't win early game, when you're going up against like Aggro Paladin, which you see a lot of, and I haven't seen an awful lot of Face Hunter or Zoo for that matter, but like yeah, a lot of the decks I've been playing are good at dealing with early game aggression, because you have to be in a meta where there's, you know, Mech Mage, there's potential for Face Hunter, Face Paladin, and Zoo. Not that I think, yeah, where I am at the moment, I haven't been seeing an awful lot of those decks, but people have to be prepared for them. No, that's a lie. I've seen quite a lot of aggro paladin. That's an annoying deck. So yeah, things that decks are generally quite good at dealing with early game. So gearing it towards the mid to late game is, I think, a much better way of playing this deck. So it's a bit more mid-rangey, and that's only one card change, and it does make a really big difference. When you make a card change, sometimes it's worth doing that. Just in normal constructive play, just changing up one card here or there. And what you should do is, when you draw it, think, would this have been better if I had the other card, the card that I replaced it for? And I've done that a couple of times. It's hard to do that always, because sometimes you're in the mindset of the game and you're just trying to, win the game as you play it. But a couple of times I've done it. Late game, you draw a Clockwork Knight and you're like, thank goodness that was not a Cogmaster. Like, that would be such a bad draw right now. Whereas, even if you don't get the Battle Cry, which is really good anyway, even if you don't get that, 5/5 for 5 is, it's not super powerful, but it's fine. It's fine in constructed play. It's just playing at a 5/5. I think it gets through Sludge Belcher. Obviously, that's the really big one. And yeah, it's just a great card. The Battle Cry, I think, is at its best in Shaman, because obviously of this young fellow here, Whirling Zapomatic, which is a really hard card to get value out of because people are terrified of it, and for good reason. But yeah, that card gets dealt with pretty quickly a lot of the time. So but if you buff this, if you get off at mid game and get a buff on this, it does a lot of work really. Making this into a 4/3 is absolutely terrifying. But yeah, Annoyatron is also a good one to buff for obvious reasons, because Divine Shield makes a big difference. But yeah, I mean, buffing +1 and +1 on anything is fine. You know that from the clerics. So pretty happy with the deck as it's running. There's not any obvious techs to add at the moment. If the meta gets more aggressive, it'll be Lightning Storms. If it gets super control-y, then Hex is a possibility to add in, but I don't think it's that necessary. I'm not seeing loads of Sylvanuses or things like a Ken or anything like that, and any like really big cards like just fatties. I'm not that worried about dealing with. Like, I've got a lot of burst, like Rock Biters, Crackles, Love Bursts, like Hammer, like Maces. There's a lot of ways of dealing with things with high toughness, so they're not the big problem. It's things like Sylvanus, ones that you want to silence and get rid of. They're the ones you need to really be scared of. So we'll see. We'll see how the meta goes. If I end up playing loads of Control Warrior, then maybe I'll want a Hex or something. But I think this deck is fine for the moment. When you're playing like a mech deck or decks like this, you generally don't want to do that much teching, because then you're often drawing back on your game plan. So like the game plan of Shaman is to get loads of Shaman synergy and then burst you down at the end of the game with Flame Tongues, Rock Biters, Crackles, Lava Burst, those kind of things. So if you start taking out those cards and losing all your synergies, then you end up with a deck which is just janky, and you don't get anything, and you lose the whole structure of the deck by adding too many tech cards. So there's not that many tech slots in this, in mech decks really. So the obvious tech card that I don't have in here yet is our good old friend BGH, and he's not been necessary at the moment. You see Dr. Boom every now and then, but Dr. Boom isn't a big problem, I don't think. Because often on turn 7, if they're playing something with no taunt and not removing anything, then there's a fairly good chance I'll have something on board, and I can do a lot of burst damage quickly with this deck. So, like, if I'm in a state where they drop Dr. Boom and I've got an empty board, I've probably lost whatever they'd have done that turn. And if I've got a board presence, then Dr. Boom is not scary, because he doesn't stop me from just starting to beat down. And that's the thing about mech Shaman, and I mean a lot of kind of these. If you get the same with Zoo and Mech Mage and Tempo Mage, like, you want to control the board early. And then, but at some point in the game, you can, once you've got like a lot of mana and you've got some burst in hand, you can just start going face and not worrying about board control, because they'll have to board control you because you're putting them at lethal. So it's kind of a weird way to play, because at the late game you start playing slightly differently. But Healbot is a potential tech card. The card I'm really working towards, if I can, would be a Dr. Boom. I doubt I'll get it before the end of the season. I think I'd need some really big wins in Arena to do that. But that is the dream, because Dr. Boom is, even though I was just saying about how I'm not that worried about Dr. Boom, Dr. Boom in general is an absolutely insane card. So, it's worth having it in any deck. So that's how I'm doing. Thanks for listening. Hope that this helps you understand how I'm getting along, and I'll post another update in a couple of days. Hopefully I'll be at my target of rank 10 by then. Thanks very much. Bye bye.